welcome to Vacation Station, hosted by Lisa and Nancy, editors of BigBlendMagazines.com.
Welcome, everybody. Today we're going to the land of giant sequoia trees up in the Sierra Nevada mountain range in central California. Giant trees, the world's largest living thing. It's very exciting to chat with Debbie Stone. She's the fire monkey. She is back on Big Blend Radio today to talk about her recent road trip and adventures in Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Parks. Her story is up on nationalparktraveling.com. You can check that now. It'll also be in the upcoming issue of Parks and Travel magazine. So, and also, you also want to check out the park website. It is nps.gov/SEKI. So welcome back, Fire Monkey. How are you doing?
We're doing just fine, just fine.
Good.
I'm talking about a place I know that is near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite places, and you write about it in the article, is Crescent Meadow. That place is absolutely magical, and I'm so glad you went there. And this wasn't your first time, right?
No, it was my first time.
Oh, it was. It was. For some reason, I thought you had been there before, or I think you had wanted to before or something. Yeah. Oh, so this was your first time to see those giant trees. Did your jaw drop like when you got up into the actual, when you have to drive up the hill to get there? And then all of a sudden
absolutely.
The trees are there. Everybody does that big like what and slams on their brakes.
They're just huge, and it's just it's interesting though because I think sequoia is almost a little bit of a misnomer because there's so many redwoods there as well, and people kind of intermingle the sequoia with the redwood, and yet they are different trees basically. And when I looked at something, I thought I was looking at a sequoia, and then found out that no, this is a redwood. And so it's funny when they say it's Sequoia-National-Park, but yes, it is the home of the sequoias, but it's also the home of a number of very giant redwoods as well.
Yeah, and sugar pines, and that's what was so interesting. Park rangers, you go to their programs and everything, and they'll show you, okay, well, here's this giant pine cone, and you immediately think it's going to be the sequoia because it's, the biggest tree.
Right.
And here it is, it's a sugar pine, and then those little tiny cones come from those giant trees. Like, what happened?
I know. It's absolutely crazy, but it's all about trees there, and all about trees and stumps, and it's for people who haven't had the experience of seeing the size of those trees, I think it's pretty much of a kind of a shock and awe kind of thing when you look at them, and you're I can't even fit them in my photos, and it's just they're like soaring to the sky and mesmerizing, and every time you walk along and you see another one, and you're like let me try to put my arms around this. No, you can't, and it takes how many people to put their arms around the trunk, and it's crazy, but it is a truly special national park.
One thing you talk about is Morrow that whole like getting up on Morrow Rock, and did you do that? Because we never had a chance to do that. None of the times we've been there.
It's this granite dome. It's allows you to have incredible views, and you have to climb. You climb up the rock. It's narrow and steep, and there are, I think, a couple hundred steps in the stone, and you hang on to the railings if you hang on for dear life, if in fact you are afraid of heights. But it really is. It's very possible to do this. It's not. You don't need some sort of Uber type of athlete to do this, because I did it, and I am not an Uber athlete. So it is worthwhile to climb it, because the view at the top is truly dramatic, and you can see all the canyons and the Great Western Divide. So it is a really worthwhile endeavor.
We're hopefully going to be there this year, and I know everything changes in the world of COVID, but we're really hoping to get there this spring. And so were you there in the summertime?
Yes, we were there in, let's see, was it August? Yeah, in August. So weather was good. all the stuff was in bloom, and things were green, and really nice time. And it wasn't, there are areas that are a little bit more dense in terms of visitor population, mostly places along like the giant forest and the groves. But once you got away from those kind of magnet areas, the hiking was beautiful, and we saw so few people out of those kind of more densely populated areas.
Yeah, and you said in your article you wanted to go to Mineral King, and I wanted to do that too. Apparently, there's a lot of marmots. Apparently, you wrap your tires, or not your tires, but you do something, because the marmots they'll start munching on things in your car. And
really?
and yeah, there's so many marmots out there. And I remember the first marmot I saw was up in Mount Rainier, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm really in the American West. Like, this is something you see, I just never got to see. And then I saw them in Sequoia and Kings Canyon. And did you get to see any of them? Any wildlife while you were there?
We did see, just kind of normal creatures, I think. Not normal, but normal for some deer, but not anything, Oh, wait, did we see the bear there?
You might have. We saw bears.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
In Crescent Meadow areas where we saw them.
Yes, we saw one bear, at a distance.
Yeah.
And actually, we would have walked right by. But my husband has eagle eyes, and so he's like, "I think that's a bear," And so we stopped, and it, I couldn't see at first, but then the thing that he was pointing to started to move. So I was assuming it was a bear, but no. Other than that, not a lot of wildlife. I don't know whether timing of the year. I don't know, or whether there's a lot of people around. I'm not sure, but we did try to get, off the beaten path, and like I said, we were in places where I remember when we did, I think it was the one of the points, one of the peaks, Buena Vista maybe, and it was, to me, a really wonderful, beautiful climb up there, and there was nobody around, and so you felt like you had the whole place to yourself, which is why I go to the parks and why I go outdoors is basically to have that solitude,
That's awesome. And then also, getting that quiet is, I don't know, there's something magical. And what blew my mind about that whole area is how the two parks are connected, and then the Sequoia-National Forest and the Giant-Sequoia-National Monument is all part of these two parks, and it's all that General's Highway. But the when you go to Kings Canyon, it is like Yosemite in a way. It is. To me, it is. There's just those granite cliffs. It's the diversity of what you see, even going from the foothills, from Three Rivers, California, all up into all the way up, and then going down into Kings Canyon. It just, I don't know, then you have Hume Lake, and it's just such a diversity of topography to me. That's what really blew my mind. How about you with that whole, just the different scenery? I
think, it's a totally different park, and even though they're connected, and but I felt the sense that I was in a different park when you go to Kings Canyon, and yes, it's very Yosemite, I think, because of the wonderful glacially carved the walls, the canyon, the rivers, and its waterfalls, and so there is a very much of a likeness to Yosemite, and but yes, I felt like I was definitely going into a different park, and that byway there is just that Kings Canyon scenic, I think, byway it's called, is just it's really beautiful. It's breathtaking, and so many places you can pull out and see all these, see the meadows and see the granite and the waterfalls and all the, and then of course, taking it all the way to into the Cedar Grove area, and being able to do all those hikes to the rivers and the falls, and to me it did feel very much like Yosemite.
Yeah, but it isn't. You know what I mean? It's just connected, but it's all part of the Sierra Nevada range, and this is the only place you see the giant sequoias. Unless you see them petrified somewhere else. But I love that you talk about the redwoods in your article too, because I think it's something we forget about. And you also brought up caves, like Crystal Cave. I know it's been closed in 2020, and Maybe they'll start opening up in 2021. I don't know, but everyone, the best place for that to learn more about that is the Sequoia Conservancy, the Sequoia Parks Conservancy. They run that. So I'm sad that you didn't get to go in there, but you said that there was another cave that people can go to.
Yeah, I didn't get to go to that one either because you have to reserve as well, and we didn't quite know whether things were open, but it's a privately operated one. It's Boyden Cave, and it's off of that scenic byway I just mentioned, and supposedly it has some nice formations in it as well. So, I urge people, if they're going and they do want to go see the cave, and Crystal is still closed at the time that they go, that they definitely check out Boyden and check it out in advance, because you can reserve. They only take a limited number of people per tour at the time. So I would suggest that you people check that out.
Mm-hmm. But the hike to the cave, to the Crystal Cave, is really neat because here you are, you're like in the giant forest and everything. But then when we did it, we didn't have as much time either, which was a bummer. Like I had to get in and get out, and I felt like we were going in Sinbad. Sinbad in the cave.
Yeah.
I get all excited about them because all the colors and everything. But going in there was like these little waterfalls and flame lilies. And I'm just like, and I mean, I was just like, this is like this magical little paradise, I was just like, just leave me on this trail, and then you get to the cave. And the cool thing, the door of the cave is, like a jail cell door kind of thing, but it's a huge, so
really?
They do Halloween. It's a giant spider web, and so it's super cool for Halloween because they do haunted things and whatever in there. So, yeah, I want to go back for that, and it's like, I really want to go play Halloween there too. But there's just some unique things. You went to, like I told, Crescent Meadow is truly, truly one of my favorite places on the planet because I remember going there and all the wildflowers, and there's a deer family that hang out right there where you park, and you see them.
Yes,
I mean,
we saw.
Did you see them?
That's where. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. And that meadow, I mean, it's incredible. And then there's, of course, the big, that rustic cabin, what is it, Tharp's Log or whatever it's called. I love that too. And it was, he came and he made this little house from this hollowed sequoia log. So, and I think they say it's the oldest cabin that's in the park. So it's kind of cool I like visiting those types of things, like those historic cabins that are there. Like there's another one, I think in King Knapp's cabin is another one, and it's like I don't know. I just like those. I love visiting those kind of homesteader, those places, and it gives you a sense of the historical connection with these parks.
Well, you got to think back to what it was like to be there. I mean, Hal Tharp was interesting. He used to take his cattle up there in the summer, and that's why he stayed in that little cabin, which is it's a burnt out, hollowed out sequoia tree. And so he'd stay there, and his cattle would be in that meadow area. But you got to think about what it was like getting up and down there. We drive cars. You can take a bus up there when it's not COVID time. But like when you think about herding your cattle up and down, because he lived in Three Rivers down in the foothills, to go up and down. There's a local person who wrote a book about him too, his life. But
interesting
to take cattle up there. And then the people that when you talked about the other, it's like, what would it be like to live up there, in the winter?
Yeah.
Oh,
I can't even imagine.
But there's a lot of military history in this park too, which is, the trees, General Sherman and General Grant. So you got to see both of those. And then you had the one in here, the near Sherman, and I didn't even know there was the near Sherman one. The near Sherman tree.
They really like to name those trees after it looked like generals and presidents and I think influential people. There's a Clara Barton tree there as well. Right. And it's interesting that they're named. I like that they're named because there's kind of a reason for their name. Of somebody who did something or somebody who was distinguished in some manner, whatever in our history. But it also points to like, oh, there's that named tree, and why. Let me look at that one, and that one is like how many years old and how many feet tall and how wide around, and so it gives you some kind of points. It gives you points of reference, I think, for those trees, and like I said, the historical context as well, which is kind of interesting. But what I found was also interesting was this whole the whole thing with John Muir and the conservationists who really worked to stop the cutting of the sequoias for wholesale reasons, and if they hadn't, so many of the others would have been chopped down, and there probably wouldn't be those groves of trees today. So it is interesting also to understand, who was responsible for helping to conserve and preserve that scenery.
I love that, and that you bring them up, John Muir and the generals, and all of that conservation history is so huge. Ansel Adams was part of helping too.
Right.
With Kings Canyon. Priscilla Thew, his name, is a woman that lived up there, and she rode her horse, and this is way back in the 40s, and she was a photographer, Susan Priscilla Thew. I'm going to get it, I hope it's right. But she went out there on her horseback and just went on her own and documented the outside, and that's how we got Kings Canyon and how it got expanded from General Grant, like from being the General Grant National Park. And so she inspired Ansel Adams to help create Kings Canyon. Also she was like this photographer lady, and of course women didn't get that much, press back then, but she did. She stood up for that park, and but those people too. We talk about military history, but there's Buffalo Soldier history in the park too. You've got to think about Colonel Young, who actually made the road that you went to the park on, and he was the very first black superintendent in the park, and he was a Buffalo Soldier, but the very first black superintendent out of the park system. How cool is that? He was an acting superintendent. So there's so much history in the Native American. You went to the Hospital Rock, right?
Yes, with all the pictographs. Yeah, that was very, very interesting as well. Yeah, that was interesting, and the big stumps, Mark Twain stump. It's a huge, big, wide 1,700-year-old tree, and they cut it down back in the late 1800s, and they did it because they wanted to get a portion of it to display it in the Museum of Natural History, the American Museum, which was, distressing when you think about the fact that they just wanted to cut this thing down and put it in a museum. But you can actually climb. They have a ladder, and you can climb to the top of the stump, and you can look at the rings that show the growth and basically how old it's been. But that was, very, very interesting to see, the stumps as well as the trees, and also to see that there is trees, there's trees that have scars from cuts, but also they're showing that the tree can have the ability to be renewed as well over the years.
See, that's the thing too. I like that you bring that up, because it's, I don't know, to me it is a big lesson of conservation, that whole park, and then talking about the renewal. Did you see all the exhibits about fire and the renewal of the trees too? Yeah. That's
just it's amazing, but there are these, living organisms, and their ability to heal is pretty remarkable.
Man, I know. I want to go back now.
Well, you are hoping, you are planning and hoping to go back, and this will be your, how many times have you been there? Visit?
We've been traveling there since years. I mean, back to when we had a print magazine, we were covering the sequoias. So that was a long. I mean, definitely. And they were one of the first places starting the tour, but they and all the communities, the surrounding communities, I would say too, like if you plan to go and it's really packed, there's other, the forest is also really kind of a quieter place too. But there's the towns around are really fascinating in regards to art, and it's true small town American agriculture. I mean, it's a agricultural hotbed out there. I mean, it's like you can get anything to eat, from almonds to plums to I mean,
Yes.
it's so fascinating with that.
Yeah, the park, the two parks, it's massive. You're looking at massive. And so we wanted to be able to stay in the park and have the ability to not drive so far every day. So, I think it would have been lovely to stay in a small town as well, but we were trying to make it as convenient as possible for us. So we, we stayed basically in the Grant Grove Village area, which is kind of in that basically I think it's in the Sequoia-National-Forest area, but it's right outside in between those parks, and so it made for access that way. But we came through that Three Rivers area and into that I think it's the Ash Mountain entrance, I believe it is, but the one that goes right the Foothills Visitor Center, which is the park headquarters, and then you can just take that General's Highway and you take it up through Sequoia National Park and then into up to the Grant Grove Village area, and then from there, you can hop into the Kings Canyon National Park area. I mean, it's an extensive amount of land to cover. And with that one road system, one way and one road system with the byway, you're looking at 2-lane roads, and so depending on when you go, it can be trafficked, especially, like I said, in summer it was a popular place. So I think to save on time, I would encourage people, if you can, to stay in the park, and there's several villages, so to speak, to stay in. With COVID restrictions, some of those villages are closed, and then, of course, in winter, there's definitely roads that are only open in the summer and not in the winter, and villages that are only open in the summer and not the winter. So it's all a good idea. Like you said, check the website, check.
I know, it's not like now you can, we can write an article, do a podcast, and the next day it's changed. So it's always important to go to the website. There's no way any of us can keep up to date with everything and everywhere we've been, right, with every little thing. So the website for the park is mps.gov/SEKI. Debbie's story is up on nationalparktraveling.com. You'll also see an upcoming issue of Parks and Travel magazine. But I do want to ask you, going there, which I'm so glad you got there, because to me it's one of those. It's like it's like important, like going to Yosemite, that you go to these parks. It's like Yellowstone. Those are those iconic places, and there are reasons that they're so iconic to America's park system, and it is something that you'll never see in another part of the world. Just in their natural habitat. It's just jaw dropping.
I think it's to me, visiting these types of national parks, or any national park or any park, it's kind of a rite of passage, I think, for us living in the United States. It's just, there's just such beauty here, and to be able to visit these places, it's an honor to be able to see this type of scenery. It really is, in nature.
Yeah, I know, and you've traveled all over the world, so you go to a park like this and you say, "Oh man, this is amazing." It's like, yeah, it is.
Yes.
Would you? I know you do a lot of hiking, and you do those big, like you do that Wales Coast one, which I really want to do that Wales Coast one. Everybody I know that read your article on that wants to go on that walk. All my walking buddies are like, "Dudes, that is like the epic vacation where you walk, stay in a B&B, they move your luggage for you. You walk on the coast, and really nice." But there's that John Muir Trail that goes through the whole Sierra Nevada. Would you ever consider doing that? Like, it's like doing it's not as epic as in regards to length, as the Pacific Crest Trail or the Appalachian Trail, which I know you've done a lot of.
Parts of those. I like doing parts of those trails. I think we did some of the John Muir when we were in Yosemite. There's that connects through there, and I love doing parts of those trails. The way the Wales Trail that worked out was that it was really wonderful that there was an end-to-end kind of thing, and that they did take your baggage. I am not a quote-unquote backpacker for a length of time, but I do love to hike, and I think having the idea of hiking from an end to end, being able to have a hot shower at the end of the day is really the way I like to do it, just like I did it also
she likes it
in the
hot.
Smokies.
She's a fire monkey.
Yes, I like those hot showers and that, just knowing that I'm going to, be able to have, a nice meal or just, be sleeping out of bed, so to speak. I don't mind camping, but I think backpacking for a long period of time, my hats are off, and I admire people who really do those things, whether it's the Camino, in Spain and France and all over there. But I think that trail, doing a portion of that and doing it the way I did it was a really a comfortable and accessible way for most people to do. It's not a difficult landscape either. It's not, you're not topping out at these peaks. It's just a very, very nice way to walk. But you do need to have very good Gore-Tex and rain equipment if you're going to do the Wales Trail.
That's the thing. Yeah, that would be
Yep.
that. You're
Yep.
right. Yep, rain is a big deal. Yep, it is. But everyone, again, nps.gov/SEKI. Go to nationalparktraveling.com. Just type in Debbie or type in Debbie and Sequoia, and you'll find the article. And we're going to close with a song from the Sequoias. This is called Hey, Hey, California. Their friends, Josh and Dan over at Everett Coast, and you can keep up with them. Just type in Everett Coast, get these songs online, all the streaming places. But Josh, he is from Springville, which is right outside Sequoia-National-Park, and actually that's the gateway to Sequoia-National Forest. And so here's one of his songs. Here it is, Hey, Hey, California. Thanks so much, Fire Monkey.
Thank you.
Here it is. Take care and happy travels.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm hoping you know how far I would go for your love. You think you've seen it all before. I'm gonna show you that I can't outgrow you, darling. You leave me wanting more, but now I'm far, far away in East Tennessee. I just need another drink in front of me. It's been a long damn ride across the country, and it'll be a long damn time till I come home. I'm plucking petals off of flowers. It's been 8 months, 3 days, 2 hours. Every moment I miss you more. But baby, when I get home, I know we'll pick up where we left off. And this show I'm living in will come to a close till I'm back out on the road. But now I'm far, far away in East Tennessee. I just need another drink in front of me. It's been a long damn ride across the country, and it'll be a long damn time till I come home. On the horizon, only one thing on my mind is I think, hey, hey, California. Counting lines and street signs, anything to pass the time as I think,